Hello, babes, and welcome to another self-reflection Sunday. Today, I'm going to be talking about what my exes taught me, and how essentially they shaped me into who I am today. Um, Whether or not it was on purpose or not, that's what happened, right? Well, actually, let me reword that. Maybe they didn't shape me, but the way that I took the lessons from my experiences with them shaped me. How about that? I like that better. Right? Um, so, yeah, I was thinking about this not too long ago where I was reflecting on all of the relationships I've been in and how each one of them really helped me to grow and learn in some way, shape, or form, like in, say, either what I wanted, what I didn't want, um, and at the same time, they were also mirrors into my own shit um, at that time as well, at that time in my life. There's this meme, I can't remember quite what it is, but there's this meme that's kind of like every relationship was a reflection of my mental health or my mental state or where I was in my personal development at that time. And I think it's so true, where, the partners that we pick are a direct reflection of like where we are at in life. And I think it's kind of cool to be able to see things from that perspective, right? Um, so yeah, let's just get right into it. One of my biggest lessons in terms of my relationships were from the ones actually that hurt the most, right? And I'm not saying that not all of my relationships had good parts, right? None of them were fully 100% bad, right? Um, and at the same time, a lot of them did have toxicity in them as well. And one of the major ones, which catalyzed me into what I do now for a living, would be my relationship where I was in a BBDD dynamic and I got psychologically traumatized and emotionally traumatized and um, a little bit of physical as well, right? So that relationship that ended, I think it's, I really should kind of know, because I like talk about it so much. I'm like, wait, when did it happen? I think it ended in 2020 or 2021 or something. So it's been about 4 or 5 years or something like that, right? And that relationship, in a way, I feel like I owe so much of my passion to in terms of for my business, because my business is so much about empowering women and learning how to have boundaries, unlearn people pleasing, and really step into our own authenticity of who we are, right? And that would not have come to fruition if I hadn't experienced what I experienced in that relationship. And even though I, experienced things in that relationship that I think no one should have to experience, it really did, I guess, light my fire in the sense of, hey, I went through that shit and I can't change that. But what I can do is now teach other women how to sidestep all of that trauma, right? Hopefully, and enter into more healthy, conscious relationships and with themselves and with others, and actually build their own dream life, whether they have a partner or not, right? Obviously, in my own personal opinion, I think that having a partner is something that really can catapult you to the next level in terms of building your dream life, right? I don't think we're meant to be alone in the long run, right? That's why I think that's just how it's intended to be, in partnership. But everyone has different views, so, to each their own. But anyways, that's my own thoughts, right? But yeah, in that relationship, it was so clear to me afterwards that I did not know how to assert my boundaries. I didn't even know what boundaries were. And I didn't know, like, where my lines were being crossed. I had no idea I was people pleasing. All of this stuff, right? I just didn't know. And if I never went through that, I wouldn't have been able to learn all of this for myself and be teaching you guys now about it, right? And, that relationship aside, I think the other ones that I've been in really showed me a lot of what I didn't want. I hear a lot of people saying and talking about their past relationships, like, oh my God, like, what a waste of time, and like, oh, like, I gave my prime years away and all this kind of stuff. And it's like, I mean, sure, you could look at it that way if you wanted to, but I like to be empowered. I like to feel empowered, and being in that kind of a mindset really takes away your power, right? I think that there's a lesson in anything if you are willing to find it. And so let's just say with one of my very first serious relationships that lasted, I think it was about 4 years. In that relationship, I realized afterwards that I really don't want to date someone who drinks a lot, right? And doesn't have a handle on their drinking. And it was interesting at that time because I drank a lot, and I partied a lot as well. So like when it was all happening, I wasn't really cluing in on like, oh, I didn't really like that. And a lot of times I would feel kind of like embarrassed on how he would be when he was drunk, and I felt like I had to take care of him and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I don't want to be your freaking mommy, so yeah, after that relationship, I kind of was like, okay, like, I'm not happy. We're gonna break up. I'm breaking up with you. And then that's what I learned is I don't want to be with someone who doesn't have a handle on their drinking, right? In the way that they were, right? And so from then on, I would scan for that, right? Like if someone really partied a lot in that way and they were kind of out of control when they were drunk, I'd be like, yeah, no, that's not, you don't qualify, essentially, right? And in my next relationship, that there was like less partying, less drinking, but the spiritual connection wasn't there. The physical connection was, and we had really good, wait, am I allowed to say this one? Anyways, we had really good intimacy, or like sex, right? Maybe I can blurb this out or something, I don't know. But anyways, we had really good sexual chemistry, and we would have really, really good sex. But I literally remember being in his room, hanging out, and asking myself, like, is this really it? Like, is this really gonna be my life? Like, I knew something was missing there, but I had no idea what it was at the time, right? I had no idea that about emotional security and having more in-depth conversations. I didn't know about being vulnerable, right? All of these things that make up like a conscious relationship where you feel really connected all the time, not just through the physical, but through like energetics and through emotions and stuff like that, right? Can't be done. And so, yeah, I remember in that relationship, when I ended it, I was just like, there's something missing. I don't know what it is, but I know I'm not going to get it here. And so I decided to leave, right? Even though, yeah, again, you know, the physical was great, but it just wasn't enough for me, right? And that's the thing about settling in relationships. Like, I don't know, I have a hard time talking about settling because I think there's a lot of throwaway culture right now in the dating realm where it's like, oh, if someone's not meeting every single thing and is essentially perfect, like screw them and just go to the next thing, you know. I'm not really a fan of that narrative, right? But there is a balance between, my dog's drinking water. I think there's a balance somewhere in between the two that makes sense. Where, like, if you do know what you're looking for and you do understand that a relationship is not just physical, there's also the emotional, there's also the energetics and, you know, the spirituality of your guys' connection, right? If you know all of that and you're with someone and you've tried to build like that wholeness of a relationship and it's just not working, then yeah, you know, try to have a talk with them about it. But then if if that doesn't work out, obviously you cut your losses and, you know, you move on, right? um but yeah, I just think sometimes we throw in the towel a little too soon in today's culture where it's just like we don't really try to have those vulnerable conversations or those in-depth conversations, and then we're just like, okay, next person, you know, without really going into the shit, right, and figuring it out. So anyways, there's that. But yeah, and then with my yeah, there's a bunch, but another comes to mind, which is the relationship that I had before this one. It was very much like amazing in the sense that we could talk through things, but if you're someone like me who's in the personal development space and is evolving at a really, really quick pace, you're probably going to want to have someone who's evolving at the same pace or is at least evolving, right? If they're still kind of in the same place in 2 years, then you're probably going to get a little bit like annoyed and frustrated because you're now way over here, over there, and like they're over here, right? And a lot of the times that's what can happen in relationships is where, and that's why people break up, right? Is because you guys are not evolving together in the same direction. Either one person is stagnant and the other person's moving, or both are moving but in opposite directions, right? So yeah, there's a lot of factors, but yeah, in that relationship, I realized like, hey, I actually need and want someone that actually makes moves to evolve and doesn't just talk with me about it. The talking was amazing. Like that was something I didn't have in my past relationships, where it was like more in depth and like whatever, right? Um, and so, you know, there was that one. And but like as you can see, right, in every relationships, I've had others, but I could go on forever. um, but as you can see, right, with every relationship that I've had, there was something that I learned about myself, and this is the thing that I want you to reflect on for this Sunday, self-reflection Sunday, is instead of, like, maybe you already do it, if not, disregard what I'm saying, right? But like, I just think it would be an actual waste of your time if you didn't use these experiences to learn about your own self, right? To learn about what you like, what you don't like, you know, where were you at when you were in these relationships? What did you miss? What could have been done differently? You know, not to go back into them, but like moving forward, like what did you learn from those relationships that you could use now, right, in today's time or whatever timeline, to better your relationship, your current relationship, or the next relationship you're going to be in, right? Like, what pieces are you missing? What are non-negotiables for you, and what are like things that you want but are kind of negotiable, like whatever, right? I feel like all of these things are super, they're just like nuggets of gold that you can find for your own self, instead of being like, oh my God, I wasted my time with this person and like blah, 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 like whatever, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think too often we, like, it's just easy to point the finger at someone else and like talk shit instead of reflecting on our own selves and what maybe mistakes we did and how we would want to show up differently the next time and all that kind of stuff, right? And I think that's like the funnest thing and the best thing is when you can use your past experiences to catapult your own self evolution, right? I think that's the best. I think that's the most fun. So, yeah, with the self reflection Sunday, those are the things to think about, and so that you can save time in the future in terms of like screening people, right? And seeing like what you want and like sticking to that, and then, you know, getting the partner of your dreams. And so that it's another piece of building your dream life. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that is all, babes. That is all. So, yeah, if you liked this episode, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. And what's the other thing? Oh, yeah, and if this hit for you, if you like what I said, you know, maybe someone else will too. Or maybe you have a friend that just went through a breakup. You know, share this video with them. It might just be something that helps them kind of move along, or move past something that they're going through. I don't know, right? But share it. And yeah, that is all. Okay, I will talk to you later. I love you. Bye.